Okay, so you hit your 30s, and now you're probably saying, what the hell happened? Stick with me as I'll be sharing exactly what I did to answer that question and how you can move forward. Hey everybody, it's Michael A. Benton here, your certified life coach, helping men take control of their lives and achieve their desires. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Tuesday. All right, so let me guess. Every day feels like the same. You feel lost and unsure of who you are. You hate the thought of living an average life. You feel like you're wasting your full potential. Your past failures and problems still haunt you. How am I doing? I know exactly how you feel because this was me. My relationships were mediocre at best. I felt lost and alone and really unsure of who I was. Couldn't hold down a job. And when I was present, I wasn't really present. Let me tell you, your mindset in your 30s is total opposites of your mindset in your 20s. More so your latter part of your 20s. For me, I went from being single to getting married right around 27, 26, somewhere around there. But even then, I wasn't thinking about, what career am I going to be in, and, the longevity things, and making sure that my finances are in order, and that I was going to be living the life that I wanted to live. I was just living, right? I was just making sure that I held on a job that I somewhat liked, that somewhat paid good, and that I could take care of the bills, and we can pretty much maintain a lifestyle that we were living. Even though it wasn't the lifestyle that either of us wanted, it was working. And we had a little bit of money to do just a little bit of activity, but that was about it. It wasn't until I jumped into my 30s, I'm 34 now, and I would say probably around 32, 33, that's when just like a bunch of stuff went off in my head. The whole anxiety and fear and feeling like you're lost and just feeling numb, and you're present but you're not really present. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of it felt like it came at once, and I was sitting there to myself, what the hell happened? Like, how did I get from just a minute ago I was getting married, having a kid, to and having a decent job, to now I've been laid off 3 times. I've had probably 6 jobs in the last 6 years. Like, how the hell did I get to this point? And I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that are watching this now that are in that same boat. And I'm here to tell you, man, I'm going to share with you some steps that I personally took myself to climb myself out of that rabbit hole that you're in. Because I know all too well how it feels. And all is not lost. You still have plenty of time. And it's just going to take a lot of effort, and it's going to take a lot of mental strength to climb your way out, but it's definitely doable, man. I know it sucks right now, but you can do it. So let me share with you the first one. These are in no particular order, but let me go ahead and share the first one with you, and we'll get you through it, man. So the first thing that I realized that I needed to do was change my viewpoint. So it wasn't until I had my last layoff. This is I got laid off right before Thanksgiving in 2018, yeah. And just got laid off right before Thanksgiving. Christmas is coming up. And I remember that moment. That was my game changer for me, because that was my 3rd layoff, I believe. And I just remember sitting on my steps of my house feeling like, okay, I'm spiraling. Like, I'm present with my wife, and my wife says you're really not here when you are here. Finances are crap. We can barely keep up with the mortgage. We don't really have a lot of extra money to do extracurricular activities with the kids. We're basically living paycheck to paycheck. So finances were crap. My relationships were mediocre with my wife. That was a crap relationship there. I had my close friends, but we never really stayed in contact that much. I mean, I had friends that lived 4 blocks away that I would barely see every couple of months. You know what I mean? It was just, it was kind of like I was just living, like I was present. I was there to wake up, make sure the kids, had food, send them off to school. I get myself to work. I do my 8 hours. I come home. I play daddy. I played husband for a couple hours, I go to bed, I do it all over again. And it felt like that was the routine for years, man. And so that last layoff, when I was sitting on my steps, I knew at that point, like, I did not want to go back to feeling the way I was feeling. I was down and out. I wasn't on the verge of anything crazy like suicidal thoughts. It was just, there was a huge sense of hopelessness, and me never gonna figure it out. And this is life. This is the way it is. It's gonna be for me. But I knew in the back of my mind that that wasn't true, and I knew that I had to create some steps. I knew I had to create some goals. I knew that I had to change my mindset, change my focus, in order for me to get myself out of the situation, to make sure that my relationships increased, and that I stayed married, because I wanted to be married to my wife, and make sure that my relationships with my friends stayed good, and most importantly, make sure that I was creating an atmosphere inside the household that was positive, and it was uplifting, and that it was vibrant. You can kind of sense and feel a good aura, and we had money to do things, and we didn't have to worry about, hey, are we going to be able to pay this bill, or we're going to keep dipping in our savings so we can pay this next bill. You know what I mean? And so again, I knew at that moment I needed to change my viewpoint. So when I say that, you're probably looking at things from a negative perspective, right? You're probably saying to yourself, stuff's never going to change. This is the way it is. Same thing I was doing. Just having negative thoughts. And the first thing you need to do is make sure that you are viewing it from a different perspective, man. Like, if you could imagine sitting on the steps or wherever you're at, sitting on a chair, and then like removing yourself, like removing your soul from your body. So you're staring at yourself sitting down, right? That's the perspective that you need on life, on your life, right? So let's imagine that you're hovering over yourself, right? And you can see your house, and you can see all this stuff, and that's the viewpoint that you need to be able to see your life. What does your future look like? Life isn't over. You have time. So you have to see things from a positive perspective if you're going to be able to get yourself out of that hole. And so you need to change in how you view things. It's pretty crappy and cruddy right now. Life is the greatest. You're probably not even in the mood to get yourself into a positive state, right? And to think positive, because you've been in this negative state for so long. But I'm here to tell you, man, if you just pull through and have the gumption, right? Have the willpower to force yourself to, okay, I'm in a crappy place right now, but I'm gonna dig myself out. You can do it. So start off with your viewpoint. Start off by seeing things differently. Don't see them for how they are. See them for what they can be. Yeah, I was laid off, but I can get another job. Yeah, my relationship sucks, but I can make that better. I can create better relationships. I can find new friends if I need to. I could go and I can make up to the friends that I currently have. I can go and see them more. There's things that you can do opposite of what you haven't been doing, right? Yeah, my finances, they suck right now. I don't have any money in savings, but I can change that around. I can start doing A, I can start doing B, I can start doing C to save or to bring in more income, right? But you gotta change your viewpoint. So that would be the first thing that I would tell you guys, is to open yourself up, allow yourself to see your life for what it is in a broader perspective, and know that things can change. You just got to put in the work, right? You just got to believe that it can, and it will. So, all right, so go ahead and write in the comment section, when it comes to your life, what do you fear the most? All right, and then my second tip is, your thoughts are the key. So this could be a whole nother video, because your mindset and what you think are the most powerful things that a human being possesses, right? And because your thoughts is what creates the life around you. when I realized, like I told you before, when I was sitting on the steps and I realized that I needed to change things, I knew I needed to change my mindset. I knew I needed to change how I thought about things. I always, in those moments, in those days, I would be thinking negative, right? Things aren't going to things aren't going to change. I'm going to have to bounce from job to job. My relationship isn't the greatest. Like I started thinking all these things, and it was kind of my everyday occurrence, right? I told you life was like monotonous. It was the same every day. And I knew I had to change that if I was going to change how things were. And so I started doing small things. I started reading books. I would pick up books that I heard from other, speakers on YouTube, or friends of mine who were, kind of had that more positive thought process. Pick up books from them. I was Google searching stuff like, how to get out of a slump, how to have a better mind frame, how to be more positive. So it just kind of gave me all these different books. And I'm going to put down in the description the books that I particularly read that helped get me to where I am today. And so I started reading books. I started journaling a little bit. And so I was trying to journal as much as I can. And it was really just, it wasn't so much journaling everything about my life, but it was more so just journaling, okay, today I'm grateful for these items. Today is going to be a good day because this is going to happen. And it was things that I could control is what I was writing in there. It wasn't things out of my control. Today couldn't be a good day as long as it doesn't rain. I can't control the weather. I can only control what I can control. So the things that I was writing in there was like, tell my family that I love them, give my kids a hug, go for a jog in the morning, go for a workout in the morning, meditate at night, read a book, those type of things that I can control. But I was journaling. I picked up meditation a little bit, so I was kind of dabbing in that to figure out if that worked for me or not. Really I was utilizing it to really focus on my thoughts. Actually, really to quiet my mind, because my mind was going 1,000 miles an hour with negative thoughts, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and this hasn't been done yet. I'm not here yet. It was just a bunch of stuff. And so I use meditation to quiet my mind. That way I can help myself think when I need to. So I was doing those things, and channeling your thoughts and creating a positive mindset does wonders. Trust me. Because then once you start thinking positively and you have good thoughts that things can change, and your mindset is good, and you're getting all this positive energy, trust me, anything and everything is possible. It gives you so much more energy, you wouldn't believe it, all right? Right now you're probably feeling like, man, I don't have energy to do anything. And so when you start to implement meditation and journaling and reading books and listening to YouTube, positive YouTube channels, and maybe you're listening to a Tony Robbins book or something, you get like this energy, right? And it really uplifts you, and you're like, okay, all right, so what do I need to do? What steps do I need to take? Okay, what do I need to do first, right? Before, there wasn't any of that. I'm just gonna sit on my couch because this is life, and I've been living this way forever, and this is what it is. But when you start encompassing positive energy into your life, really saying positive incantations to yourself, affirmations, things of those nature, things change. Your life changes. And that's exactly what happened for me. The more positive stuff that I endured and that I took in, the more positive I started to do, right? The positivity related to my actions. So I was like, okay, what don't I want in my life? Okay, let's one by one knock those out. What do I want? Okay, how do I work towards those? And I'll get into I'll save that for a later tip, but again, change your mindset. Start thinking positively. Start creating a positive energy around yourself. The people that you hang around with is another big thing that you can do, another action that you can take to create those positive thoughts and mindset. If you're hanging around people that are not telling you, hey man, you should get up and get out and do something, right? Or, what I'm saying, you said you wanted to become this person, but you're not doing anything. How can I help? If you don't have friends or family that is influencing you to do better and to be better, you need to change your environment. You need to get around people who are either where you want to be, or maybe they're in the same boat as you and they're on their way, right? And you need to tag along their drift and follow them and do the things that they do. Maybe not necessarily exactly, but hell, they're a little farther along than yourself, and that's where you want to be. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to tag along. So change your environment if you need to. Your friends and family, those are your most important people in your life. But if they're not serving you in a positive way, they're only hindering you, then you're not going to be where you need to be, where you want to be, and it's just not going to help you in the long run. So make sure that you need to change your environment if you need to. All right, and then the third tip I want to tell you is to create a vision statement or create a vision board. Now, they both go hand in hand. You can do either or. Me personally, I started off with the vision statement, and I'm going to put the link in the description below to the video that actually showed me basically what a vision statement was and how to utilize it and to how to incorporate it. And I learned that through a gentleman by the name of Stephen James. He's the founder of Project Life Mastery, and again, I'll put his link in the description below. But I started off with the vision statement. So basically what it is, it could be a 5-year plan, it could be a 10-year plan, it could be a 15-year plan, whatever you want it to be. For me, it was in the next 5 years, like how did I see my life? And it was from every aspect, you know what I mean? So from finances to career to relationships to where I live to what I drove, it was the whole gambit. And this really, and writing a vision statement gives you time to reflect on, okay, what is it that you really want? How do you want your life to look for yourself? And take your time with it, and really get very detailed as to what do you want it to look like? Who's gonna be in it? What kind of career you're gonna be doing? If you're gonna be owning a business, do you have employees? Okay, how many employees? Where's this business located? If you're working for somebody, okay, what do you do? Get really detailed. And I kept this in like my phone, in my notes. And so I would be able to read it every day and remind myself, even when I'm having crappy days, remind myself, okay, this is what I want. This is why I'm going to work towards being more positive and changing my viewpoint and doing all these things, because I now have something to strive for, right? I now have an end game. And so you can also do the same with the vision board. Obviously, the vision board is just, you can go on any YouTube channel pretty much and type in vision board, and they'll show you how to create one. But essentially, it's just a visual version of what you wrote down, right? So on my vision board, I have like pictures of a certain car that I want, pictures of a certain house that I want. I have pictures of like Tony Robbins and Steve Harvey on them. These are people that I aspire to be like because of the way that they are, right? And just a ton of other stuff. So whatever you want to have, whoever you want to become, whatever you want to feel, make sure that you're putting that on your vision board. And that's just another way for you to reference the life that you want. So you can do both. For me, I have both now. Before I just started off with the vision statement, but I do have both of them now. And again, this is all leading towards more positive, right? This is all leading towards what is possible, and we're no longer focusing on what is not possible, or we're no longer focusing on what has happened. We're only focusing on what can be in the future, right? And that's the whole point of the vision statement and the vision board. But if you don't already have one of those, I suggest you go ahead and you create those and you get those started and you really utilize them, man. If you create the vision statement, read it every day. And they're always interchanging. It's not set in stone. So, whatever you put in your vision statement, if that changes in 2 weeks or if that changes in 3 years or whatever it is, then they're always there to be updated, right? Because we're always ever evolving as humans. So make sure that you're updating it. Same with your vision board. You're never going to keep the same stuff on there year after year. That's always going to change, right? You always want to do more and evolve, especially when you start moving closer to the things that you want and the person that you want to become, and you start achieving goals. That's when you can start erasing those things off of there, and let's go a notch higher and figure out, okay, what can we do now? Who can we become now? How do we want to feel now that we felt before? So create a vision board, create a vision statement. It's going to do wonders there for you. Again, this is all about positivity and creating the right mindset for yourself, because that's where it all starts. And then my last and final tip for you is plan and execute. You can have your vision board, you can have your vision statement. It could be one of the greatest detailed summaries you've ever written, but unless you have actionable plan and steps to actually follow through with it to get to it, it's not going to work. So you need to create steps, you need to create goals on how you're going to accomplish whatever it is that you're wanting to accomplish. For me, when I was creating my plan and my goals, I was thinking, at first I was doing it wrong. I was thinking like the biggest goals, like I want to open up my own business, and I want to be this thought leader, and I want to be doing this. And I really had to calm myself down and really, again, viewpoint, kind of hover above myself, and was like, okay, you're trying to do too much. That's great that you have those big goals and desires. Awesome. Keep those on there. We need to focus on the smaller things first to build on the larger things. You know what I mean? So it was like, what is most important to me at this moment? Okay, income was one of the most important things. And my relationship with my wife was one of the most important things. The relationship with my kids was one of the most important things. How I thought, my mindset was one of the most important things. So I focused on those 4 things. And then I broke those down into things that I wanted. So I'll give you an example. So like for my wife, our relationship was kind of on a teeter-totter, right? And it wasn't helping because of the mind frame that I was in. So I was like, okay, how can I overturn this? How can I make this better? So then I was like, okay, well, let's create, maybe we have a date night once a week or once every 2 weeks, right? So I would create a goal based on that, and then create action steps to that. Maybe another goal of mine was to spend more time with my kids, right? Or make sure that we went somewhere as a family every week. As far as the finances, okay, I didn't really like my job, but I wanted something that gave me more time on my own, kind of not being micromanaged, but like having the ability or the freedom to come and go as I please. Where can I make really good money? Where can my values be placed in here? So that's how I figured out, based on my plans and my actions, what I was going to do in order to create or conquer the goals that I wanted. And that's what you need to do. So start small, break it down in the areas that you need to focus on first. More than likely, in the position that you're probably in, mindset and in your mind frame, your positivity, that's where you need to put all of your focus, right? Because again, if you aren't right up here, everything else is gonna fall to the wayside. So set goals to increase your positivity and to expand your mindset, right? So if one of your goals is to, like example, I got Audible because I was like, I need to read more. So then my goal was to read a new book once a month. So I read 1 book a month. So if that's one of your goals, get Audible, or maybe you go buy books, or maybe you go to Barnes and Nobles and you rent them, or whatever you need to do. Read more books if that's one of your goals, right? To expand your mindset. Listen to more TED Talks. Follow some people on YouTube that are in the positive realm, right? And that are there to better you. Whatever it is that you want to focus on that is most needed at that moment, do it. And then once you find yourself where you're working on those particular needed areas, and now you're starting to get into a flow, you're starting to create good habits, right? Because we know that a habit is created within the first 30 to 90 days. And so, if you're creating good habits, then you can expound on the other stuff that you need to work on, right? But make sure that you focus on the priority first, and then work your way out. And so those are the 4 goals, man, that really helped me climb out of where I was at. Because like I told you in the beginning, I didn't think things were going to change. Like there was no way in hell that I thought my life would be like this in my 30s. I've always had the mindset of like, I want to be rich, or wealthy by the time I'm in my 30s, because I've always had this phobia of time. And like, and maybe that's just a generational thing, maybe that's just a millennial thing, but like, if I wanted to be rich early so that way I can enjoy all the things that I wanted to do. I didn't want to be wealthy later on in my 40s and my 50s. I thought, being 40 or being in your 40s or your 50s or your 60s was old and was pretty much done. But as you get older, obviously, you mature a lot better. You come in contact with older and wiser people, and your mind is more like a sponge, right? It seems like it's more willing to absorb things that you probably should have had when you were, in your 20s. But I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and that you are where you are for a reason, right? And a lot of that is based on your actions. But I think that we as humans, we go through things because we're chosen to, right? It's there to serve us. It's there to serve a purpose for us later on in life. We don't know when, we don't know how, but we just know that it's preparing us. And for those of you out there who are thinking like, man, I'm getting the short end of the stick a lot, right? And bad. And trust me, man, I've been there. I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like. And I know what it can lead to. But you just gotta be very hopeful, man. And you gotta really want to get out of it. It's gotta be a pain point for you, man. It's gotta, like for me, getting laid off and not making enough money and having crappy relationships, like that shit was a pain point for me. I was tired of like feeling like that. I was tired of being so like, I don't know, I wasn't necessarily a Debbie Downer, but I wasn't mopey, but I was just, how when someone's just blah, they're just there, there's not really any emotion to them, right? There's not really much expression to them. That was me. I was just living life, right? Just doing what I needed to do, fulfilling a task. That's pretty much what I was doing. I wasn't actually living, you know what I mean? I wasn't enjoying the moments with my family, my friends. I wasn't aspiring to be more than what I was. I wasn't wanting these things and wanting to be a better person and to share my experiences with other people that are going through the same thing, with other men. Okay, great. So I've given you some tips, and with those tips, now your life should be all good to go, right? Listen, change can be really hard, especially if you're really deep down in the rabbit hole. And more than ever, you need accountability and you need clarity, which is why I suggest you schedule a free discovery session with me to get clear on your goals, the challenges you face, and the steps you need to take to move forward. I'll put the scheduling link down low in the description. As always, be sure to check out this next video to continue building on your mindset. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, make sure you go out and tell your friends, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.